Hey, Heidi Ho YouTubers. I had a conversation with a fellow that I met yesterday. And I started telling him about, how much gardening I do and how we'd gotten out of debt and had no mortgage and no car loans and no credit cards and how I had solar panels on the roof and how I can things and etc., etc., etc. Why we have milk goats and make my own butter and all that stuff. And the guy seemed kind of interested to start with, but then, if you're a prepper, I'm sure you've seen this. His eyes started to glaze over. Get that, wow, you're a nut job look. All of us have seen that look in people's eyes before. I ran across a couple things this morning. Someone sent me a link to an article, a blog page. My instructions for my wife. The guy's internet handle was Suburban Prepper, I think it was. And it was a big list of stuff, his wife was supposed to do, and what he would do. Go to the bank in the event of a bank run, right? Get out as much money as you can in this particular fashion. Then go to the store, buy canned goods, blah, blah, blah. And as I was reading the article, I got almost incensed because I thought, well, geez, this guy uses the word prepper in his handle on the internet. Why hasn't he already done all this stuff? Well, as I read clear down into the comments, it was apparently supposed to be a nudge for non-preppers to get started. But the point is, if you're not already doing all this stuff, then you're failing your family. Someone also sent me a personal message overnight talking about some gardening techniques because I put up, gardening video yesterday or related to gardening. And I started to send back a personal message, reply and say, look, because I think they mentioned that they thought I was going to start gardening again. Well, we essentially garden here year-round and have for many years. I've been a big fan of square foot gardening for, way over 20 years. And I still will use that in Zone 1, if you know that permaculture term. Here's the point. Time's getting short. As preppers, the only way we can be quote-unquote resilient, as Chris Martenson likes to say, to what's coming down the road in the future is to already be checking out of the system, much like you check out of a hotel room. If you're not actively 110% of your life trying to be as self-sufficient as you can be already right now, then you're failing your family. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to buffer yourself and your family against the trials and tribulations that we're going to soon see. If you're not already trying hard to get out of debt, if you're not already gardening, you're in trouble. It's not enough to save up a bunch of Band-Aids, bullets, and beans. It's not enough to have a big freeze-dried can of garden seeds sitting on the shelf and say, okay, I'm prepared. Because it's life's lessons. It's the experience that you really need. As preppers, we need to be working towards that. We need to be as self-sufficient as we possibly can right now, whether you live in the city or out in the country. And we need to be actively working on ways to help our local community weather the storm. If we're not doing that, we're going to be in big trouble anyway, because a strong local community really is the only way you're going to be able to fend off the zombie hordes. Think about whether you are sitting in front of your computer watching videos about Nibiru all the time, or whether you are getting out and actually doing the life, living the life. This person that sent me the personal message this morning that said, insinuated that I was getting back into gardening. If you're not already doing these things, you won't have the skill sets for the future. You won't be able to teach your friends, neighbors, and family the skill sets. And that's the only way you're going to survive in the future. It's the only way you're going to have any quality of life in the future. Sure, we could all stock up several years' worth of crap down in the basement bunker and go hide. But is that a quality of life? The more we check out of the system, get out of the banks, stop buying stuff at the stores, the less material goods we bring into our property, the better off we're going to be when the time comes that none of these things are going to be available. It's also a good way to rage against the machine. If you are angry about the Monsanto protection bill right now, there's not much you can do about it. You could write a letter to President Obama, but obviously he's not going to listen. 250,000 people already did that, and he still signed the bill. As preppers, we're going to have to start voting with our actions. And it all goes hand in hand, because the more self-sufficient you are, the easier it is not to buy things with high fructose GMO corn syrup in them. Anyhow, think about these things. Push yourself away from the computer for a while today. Go out and do something. We'll get through this.